Welcome back to Larkhall in the Tuto Money Super 1 British Karting Championships. It's Senior X30 up next. One man who's on fire in the championship as a whole this year, doing Senior X30 and Senior Rotax as well, joins me, Joe Turney. Now, I think you've had a bit of an issue in the heat we've just had, so it's going to be interesting to see where you start the televised final later. But just talk a little bit about the differences between the Senior X30 as a kart, as an engine, and Senior Rotax, which you prefer. I think you're leading the championship in Senior Rotax, so you're not?
1 point off the lead, I think.
Okay, and I think second in this as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're right up there in the championship in both classes. What's the differences between them?
Well, they're fairly similar time-wise. Most tracks they do around the same time. In the wet, the Rotax has a slightly slippier tyre. It's same in the dry as well. However, it has a bit more power, and the power band in the X30 is a bit more linear. So, but they still go around the same pace.
And this weekend at Larkhall, I know you've had a bit of an issue. Just shorter track, one of the shorter tracks we visit. I know they're looking at putting a big extension in here, which will be quite exciting if they do. But I guess you now, with that issue in the heat, what are you looking to get out of this weekend now?
Well, my first heat wasn't too bad. I was in the top 5, and then that one I think I was near the back 10s, so around 17th place. So I hope to start near 10th place, and then try and get a few in the pre-final, and then race for the win in the final.
And when you get something like this happen in the heats, when you've ended up way down the field, for the younger kids, you're a little bit more mature these days. You've been around, you've won Super 1 twice. You won the B&L as well out in Europe, so you're highly experienced. So for the younger kids watching, what's your advice to the younger kids when they have a bad heat, disappointed? I was looking in Junior TKM yesterday. My pick for the championship, Spencer, he was a little bit depressed after the first heat. He had a bad start on the first lap and ended up down the field, but then came back strong afterwards. Yeah. What would you advise the younger drivers, particularly the cadets? If they have a bad heat, what should the mindset be?
Well, it's a long championship. Try and keep your head up. You might not win this round, but then, you might not win this year, but, stay with it. It's about learning, and then I'm sure that they'll come back stronger. So just keep your head up and remember that, it's a long year. So, yeah.
It's good advice, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything you can pick up from Joe Turney is gold dust. Hodgson and King on the front row of the grid for Senior X30 from Butcher and Porter, Pennell and Turney, Byatt, Jackson, Derek Morgan and Elliot Harvey rounding out the top 10. Some big names to watch for. Thomas Turner just outside the top 10. Josh Thompson-White wanting to move his way forward from the Isle of Man. And Henry Laws has had a miserable weekend thus far, as has Saul Robinson. They'll want to fight forward. Away we go, and a cracking start straight off the bat as they make their way through those first couple of corners. Great pictures from the drone as always, and this is going to be a really interesting fight. But out in front, it is Sean Butcher who is coming behind Oliver Hodgson, the Australian, through to second. Hodgson is your leader, the Senior X30 world champion, and drivers off on the grass. There's contact. We've got 2 or 3 drivers in the wars. Now, that looks to me like we've got Brandon Matchell recovering. I think we also saw Archie Tillett, Oliver Hodgson's teammate, in that lot.
Pennell up to second, Jake through hairpin 2, 10th in the championship.
Great overtake. That was really nicely done. Just trying to see who else got spat out there in the mix. We'll see as they come across the line. Sean Butcher in behind Hodgson. Oh, well, he was. Of course, Pennell got through. Porter 4th, then King, Byatt, Turney, Jackson, Stewart and Thomas Turner, with Elliot Harvey starting to make progress. Stationary yellow, so somebody is parked up at that part of the circuit. Didn't see who it was, but the 2 that have not come through are Anna Morris and Brandon Matchell. Well, Matchell's come into the pits with damage, so it's Anna Morris that's out of the race. That's a real shame for her first weekend joining the Jade Racing team on the Birrellart chassis. That's a move from Morgan Porter. He makes the move up into 3rd place on Sean Butcher. Good overtake there from Morgan. He's needing a bit of luck, and this weekend he looks like he's going to get some.
Henry Laws has made up 9 places on lap 1, Jake. He's up to 18th from 27th.
Paper bag on the circuit there. That's not great. If that gets sucked into the wrong part of the kart, that could be very nasty.
Well, if it went over the radiator, you might get a very warm engine very quickly if you didn't notice it was there.
Yep.
That's Hodgson that leads from Pennell in second. Porter up to 3rd place on the 46. Sean Butcher down to fourth from third. Levi King's in the mix as well.
I think everybody got away with that paper bag, and the marshals have been very quick here actually at the West of Scotland Karting Club. They'll have spotted that, and it will not be there this time around. So great work actually from the marshals here. A predominantly all-female team actually. There's a few men on the marshals front at the West of Scotland Kart Club here at Larkhall, but most of them are actually female. So great to see that this is a circuit doing things very differently, and good to see that the talent is very well trained and up to the mark.
Yeah, without the marshals, we don't go racing anywhere. We've seen some world-class marshalling in karting and in the Mini Bikes Championship. You may remember at Lid a few years ago, Jake, when we had that massive incident. As there's a move for fourth.
That's a
places being made up.
That's King. That's King
lost,
making the move.
Yeah. So King up to fourth place. World-class marshalling all over the place. And without the marshals, we simply do not go racing. Simple as that. Warning flag on the line for somebody. Who's that?
We'll find out. That is the 24.
24.
That's Huang. That's Alexander Huang, the Singaporean driver under the Mick Barrett Racing awning. So Alex Huang trying to make progress. He has made up a place. He's up to 12th position. There's the leading privateer. That's Owen Byatt up in the top 6. Another one of those drivers who, if you broke his kart in half, it would have bad luck written through it like Blackpool Rock, wouldn't it?
I was having a bit of fun with Owen earlier. He said, "You're going to interview me?" I said, "Well, listen, when I want to interview someone and learn about crashing, Owen, I'll come to you. You're top of my list."
Well, I'll tell you what, he and Joe Turney having a much better run this time. Turney's up to 5th place, passed Byatt, and Sean Butcher, the Australian, has dropped all the way down to 9th position. Jackson's got through, Turner's got through.
I do like having a bit of banter with the kids, I've got to be honest.
And there's some great characters in this mix, which is what I like about it. There's some fantastic personalities. Owen Byatt definitely being one of them. Joe Turney was another one actually. They were on the sim, and he here at Larkhall in the cafe, and he's a lot faster than me. It's really, really frustrating when I see. I'm a sim racer, and I feel like I do a reasonable job at it. But when I see all these Super 1 guys get into the sim, and they're not naturals at sim racing, but they get straight into the car and are immediately 2-3 seconds faster, I love to have a bit of banter. Initially, actually, Clayton Ravenscroft wasn't as fast. I happened to say to him, "When was the last time you were in a kart, mate?"
Yeah.
You don't get to say that very often.
About people that were fast. Josh Thompson-White was the fastest on the sim, Jake, but that's not translated to his performance on track here. He's down on P21 at the moment, Josh Thompson-White, but he was absolutely on fire on that sim. I think it was the second a lap quicker than anybody else, was he not?
Yep, he's done a fantastic job in his extracurricular activities, sim racing being one of them. He actually races in iRacing semi-professionally, so he does know his craft. But he's in a very, very tough competitive field of Senior X30 here. Not the greatest of weekends for the man from the Isle of Man, but he's doing the best he can with what he's got to work with at the moment in terms of circumstance. And that's a warning flag that's gone out for the 4. That's Elliot Harvey, who's made his way up to 13th position. Initially fought his way through to 10th and lost a few places. Henry Laws, finally, things are coming good for him in this race. He's had a nightmare all weekend, and now he has fought his way forward up 12 places, as is the man just in front of him on the road, Lewis Malin.
Yeah, Malin's made up 12 as well, absolutely.
Well, Malin was leading at one point this weekend as well. That's worth bearing in mind, because he's had a lot of misfortune, but great to see both of them fighting their way back.
Again, great overall pictures of the action from the drone. And going through the line this time, Thomas Turner has made up 4 places. He was 7th last time, 7th this time. So he's made up 4 so far. Pennell in second has made up 3. Started P5. Looking down the field, Matt Armstrong has made up 6. He's in 12th place, currently started P18. Rory Hudson up 3 from P19.
Right, now we've settled into a rhythm of the race. Time to make a very interesting point in terms of the championship. At the first 2 rounds at PF and Wilton Mill, Oliver Hodgson pretty much had things his own way. He's leading here, but how close are Brad Pennell and Morgan Porter? In the dry, it is so ultra competitive in this class, and I'm not so sure Hodgson is going to have this race all his own way. Levi King's not a million miles back. Joe Turney and Owen Byatt are good mates, so I think they'll know to work together to close up. And look, we've got 6 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock. We've got plenty of time for this race to change hands. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, the man there in 4th place, bit of work to do to catch the lead 3. These are the lead 3, Hodgson, Pennell.
All it takes is a lap or 2 of battling and they'll do it.
With Morgan Porter there in 3rd place. We know Morgan's got a load of quality, but Levi King His Billy No-Mate's there. He's got nobody to work with to close that gap.
That's Thomas Turner up to 6th place. Sorry, Alan. That's Turner making his way up into 6th position to sit behind Turney. The fact that those two are as good as each other and usually on the same bit of track together is never going to stop being confusing.
Turney and Turner. Sounds like Turner and Hoops, Jake.
It does a bit. It's like it's like an American detective show on Channel 5. Anyway, through they come. Turner and Turney as they battle away together. Turney in 5th position at the moment with Thomas Turner making the move. So Turner on Turney, he goes through. Byatt is going to try and get the move on the inside of Joe Turney. Turney realises, reacts and stops the move from happening. Meanwhile, that looks like Scott Jackson trying to make his way further forward, the leading rookie in amongst all of this, doing a grand job. This is a season that only has 3 rookies in the 2018 campaign, certainly this weekend. The 3 rookies, Scott Jackson is in the top 10. Sky Siddle, who's moved across from the Birolart Junior Championship last year, was a race winner in that, is now there fighting her way in the top 20s. And then, of course, Rashid Ghanem, the Lebanese for M Sport, who's had a really rotten weekend thus far.
This battle for 5th place is really on fire. Scott Jackson, the leading rookie, the only rookie, in fact, in the top 20. There's 3 rookies in the race. He's the only one in the top 20. He'll be getting a trophy for that. But this battle here, look at it, as they come towards on the drone, these 6 karts pretty much nose to tail, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. That's Turner, Turney, Byatt, Butcher, Jackson and Stewart. What a battle that is for position.
Warning flag for Thomas Turner. That's very unusual. I mean, maybe he pushed a little bit too hard on track limits, because I didn't see him doing anything untoward. He certainly wasn't driving beyond his means in terms of overtaking Brouwers. So I guess he's just pushed a little bit over the limit. They do have to be careful of track limits, particularly here where there's a little bit of discrepancy in places.
Yeah, I think you'll find it's probably more for a little bit of contact than track limits. But anyway, it is Hodgson, the world champion, that leads. Pennell second, Porter third, pretty much as you were. No changes on the last lap in the top 20. Nobody changed position on the last lap. Very unusual for karting.
That is very unusual for Senior X30 in particular as well. So Jackson in the top 10. There's the change of positions. There we go. Malin and Armstrong have swapped positions. Laws and Wilson have got past Elliot Harvey.
And Laws up 13 now. Jake Malin up 14 places.
Great work from the pair of them. They've had miserable final ones here in the final 2. They are finally making their progress back. But look at these 3. They've broken well clear, but they're ticking off time, these 2 in 2nd and 3rd. Pennell and Porter, they're not going to make the overtaking move until they've got the chance. Oliver Hodgson is controlling the pace at the moment, and at the moment Hodgson actually has the disadvantage because he's the one who's cutting through the air. He's the one who's finding the dry line and pushing the kart. The other 2 are just sitting behind him. They're letting Hodgson cut through the air and do all of the aerodynamic work. These 2 are just sitting there looking after their tyres, their brakes, preserving the engines. They've got the best chance of winning this one, sat in 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, they can look where the world champion is braking, judge their braking on his. And it's really difficult to stay out front from lights to flag, but that's what Hodgson has done so far. Can he stay there, though?
And look at the championship from their point of view as well. It makes sense for Pennell and Porter to go for the move because they'll be thinking, well, Hodgson's got a massive lead. He won't want to risk losing a decent crop of points. We could probably overtake him and he won't put up much of a defence.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. I mean, Hodgson, highly experienced, he knows. He'll have an idea in his mind what his championship lead is as things stand at the moment. So he won't put up, as you say, Jake, too much of a fight if they do throw one down the inside. Paul Stewart, the privateer on the 11 karts, up there in the top 10 in 9th place.
So Hodgson, basically, as long as he gets as many top 3s as possible over the course of this season, then he's doing okay. But Hodgson has been large and in charge since the start of the season, hence his current prediction of points as Rory Hudson has gone off there on the double apex. Look how much of the wood chippings has been put on the outside of the circuit over the course of the last couple of races. That is, of course, a remnant from that incident earlier on when we saw the likes of Archie Tillett, I think Brandon Matchell, Anna Morrison, Rashid Ghanem. Yes, somebody has gone off and gone way off.
Look at the amount of bark chippings on the track there, sitting on the track. That won't help your grip.
Well, is that Hudson having got back onto the circuit again and recovered? Yes, it is. So Hudson has got back on track and recovered. Now Porter's made a little bit of contact there. Porter making the move to get past Brad Pennell, and that's given Oliver Hodgson an absolute check out of Dodge City move. Look at that. He's got a massive lead as a result of that overtake.
That's a race win for Oliver Hodgson right there. He's going to be crossing the finish line first, no doubt about it now.
So Hodgson leads the way, Porter second, Pennell third, and look at the damage to Pennell's nose cone as he comes through. Look, that board has obviously been taking a big hit. That could be a penalty for Pennell. That's a real shame.
10-second penalty if your front nose fairing is dislodged. and the scrutineers check all the fairings after the event. I tell you what, Oliver Hodgson's looks a little bit low to me as well.
It does look low.
I'm not sure. He's not had anybody in front of him, so
well,
we have seen people get dislodged nose cone from the curb, to be honest.
That's
but I'm
true,
not sure
but
that's the case. 2 to go, Jake, as they go through the line.
Yes, 2 to go. You're right. Hodgson's nose does look a little bit out of place. We'll look at it again. Look, yes, that's very nearly rubbing on the ground. Now, if that's the case, then Hodgson, well, he could well get a penalty. That's a real disaster for him leading the way. But the only, well, I suppose the only consolation is that his championship lead is so massive that it wouldn't necessarily be a massive problem championship permutations-wise. He'll still get some points over the course of the weekend, but, well, that could give Morgan Porter the victory.
Clock's down to 0, so they'll get the last lap board, so it's 12 minutes. Once that clock's ticked down, then the starter will get the last lap board out, and he's giving it to Oliver Hodgson. There he is, holding it out. Last lap.
Owen Byatt's made his way back past Joe Turney in recent laps as well, so he's up into the top 6, but we're not entirely sure what sort of positions these guys are going to be in post-race, because we'll have to take post-race scrutineering into account, and it does look to me as though Hodgson's nose is a little bit low, but we'll find out. In terms of his on-track prowess, it is not in question. Oliver Hodgson has been absolutely meteoric this weekend. He's done an absolutely fantastic job and a brilliant run. So Hodgson will cross the line in first position. Absolutely terrific drive. Second across the line will be Porter, and Levi King in third position from Pennell, Turner, Byatt, Joe Turney, Butcher, Stewart and Jackson. That's the top 10 as they cross the line here at Larkhall.
After post-race scrutineering, the world champion who crossed the finish line first excluded for a technical non-compliance, Lewis Malin, gets a 10-second front fairing penalty, and Owen Byatt a 10-second penalty for gaining an unfair advantage.
Morgan, it's been one heck of a weekend, a pair of victories over the course of the meeting, and it's been absolutely amazing watching you fight your way through.
Yeah, it was a really tough weekend. Everyone pushed me to the limit. Yeah, it was just really hard. What can I say?
I have to say the work that the team has put in to give you the tools to do the job has been absolutely exceptional. You must be really proud of what they've done.
Yeah, thank everyone at M Sport. They gave me their best. Danny, your tuning could have been a bit better, but what can I say?
You can pay him back for that later. Well done, mate.
Cheers. Bye.
Super cool, Morgan Porter. Hodgson's exclusion drops him to 4th in the point standings, with Turney and Turner very close in the fight for 2nd behind Porter. TKM Extreme next.